Welcome to Sermon Updates Midweek. This is August 4th, 2021. As I continue in the sermon series, Count Your Blessings, I discovered something I needed to correct. The title implies that we can all find blessings to count, and my life experience, as well as that of others, demonstrates there are times to where it is very difficult to be able to see, to be able to discern, to be able to understand and know the blessings of God. In fact, there are times to where we feel like we are the opposite of blessed. Sometimes we feel like we are cursed. So I started thinking about those times in our life where it's difficult to see the hand of God working. And it hit me that in those moments, that the truth is, there is a blessing that we sometimes just don't know. There are unseen blessings. Now, sometimes you can see those when you look in your rearview mirror of life, to where you look back and you say, oh, I can see God's hand in that. I can see how God was blessing. While in the moment, you really can't see that. I think spiritually, unlike driving a vehicle in real life, many times the rear view mirror is much more clear in spirituality than the windshield. As you're looking through the windshield of life, it's really easy to miss what's going on. Reminds me of a story. Not long after Paula and I got married, my Camaro, I was starting to have problems with the wipers on the windshield. And I went to eat lunch with Paula one day, so I drove over to Akron, and it was raining. So I told Paula, I said, you know, my wipers are acting up, and sure enough, in the middle of one of the heaviest downpours I can ever recall, my windshield wipers stopped. So I was following her taillights, and unfortunately, it was raining so hard that I couldn't see when Paula stopped, and I ran into my own car. Now, fortunately, there wasn't any damage to speak of, but it was an embarrassing reality that I couldn't see through the front windshield at all. Sometimes in our lives, it's very difficult to see through the front windshield, and the truth is that it's easier to see in a rearview mirror, looking back, to see how God has blessed us. Unseen blessings. I challenged everybody with a passage of scripture from Proverbs 3 last week. Trust in the Lord and lean not on your own understanding. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. I think that's the key to this message. When you can't see God blessing, when you can't see His hand moving, we just have to keep trusting. The God who loves us, and that we know loves us in those moments where we feel so blessed, is the same God who loves us when we don't feel like He's paying attention at all. The question is, do we trust Him? I mean, when it comes down to the bottom line, the brass tacks, the end of the day, do we trust in the Lord with all our hearts? I'm one of those very guilty of leaning on my own understanding, where the proverb writer was very wise when he said, don't lean on your own understanding. Where are you today? Are you trusting in the Lord, or are you leaning on your own understanding? Are you trying to force God's blessings into a certain pigeonhole? Or are you allowing God, the God who watches over us with all of His love and all His compassion, always, or are you trying to tell Him what He should do? At the end of the day, I think most of us should pause. I've learned something just in the last couple of years, and I'm trying to practice it more every day, and that's that I am trying to take at least 30 seconds before I respond to somebody's question, somebody's complaint, somebody's statement. And I'm just waiting. Just a pause, just a brief moment. Because what I've learned is often in the midst of those pauses, either I can gain a greater insight on what's going on, or perhaps somebody says something that totally changes the nature of the conversation. Or perhaps people determine for themselves what needs to be done. I have often been too apt to jump in and to give responses and answers far too quickly. I think sometimes we don't give God enough time, and we need to just trust Him, and we need to just wait. He loves you more than you love yourself, and He only wants what's best for you. Trust in the Lord and lean not on your own understanding. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Have a great week.